किंगडम प्लॅन्टीच्यावर थोडंसं डिस्कस केलेलं होतं. राहिलेला पार्ट आहे थोडंसं आपण आता बघूया. अटेन्शनमध्ये राहा. मस्त आपल्याला हा एकदम सरळ साधा सोपा पार्ट आहे. काय आहे ते थोडं थोडं रिवाइज करूया. इन केस ऑफ द प्लांट, ओके, सो दिस वन इज द प्लांट. Yesterday we see whole chart, isn't it? And remaining part just now start. In planting the parts cryptogams, isn't it? These one is the cryptogams. Here are the non-vascular plants. Okay, non-vascular plant. The non-vascular plant. What do you mean by the vascular? Yesterday I was clarified the vascular and non-vascular. Yet now we start the remaining part, isn't it? So that was the crypto means, you know very well, it is a hidden. This one is the hidden, isn't it? Non-vascular plant, the group of non-vascular plant, one is the Thallophyta. It is a Thallophyta, and next one is the Bryophyta. Non-vascular, immediate in case of the Thallophyta and then Bryophyta. So what do you mean by the Thallophyta? So this one is the plantation. It's a aquatic one. It is a aquatic one. The plants which is a grow in water, nothing but called the aquatic plant. So another name, it's a algae. What we call algae, isn't it? So means what? The online plant show root, stem and then leaves, isn't it? But in case of the watery plant, root like structure, stem like structure, leaf like structures are seen, isn't it? So that is why these were the criteria called the thallus. It is known as the thallus. It's a thallus in one. Again one, the Thallophyta or algae classify. It's a classify based on pigments. You know very well photosynthetic pigments. In case of the, suppose here are the photosynthetic pigments. The types of photosynthetic pigments, one is the essential pigment and second one is the accessory pigment. Accessory pigment means to the secondary pigment or the supplementary pigment. Essential pigment in case of the chlorophyll A, green pigment, isn't it? And accessory pigment, here are the chlorophyll B, C, D, then carotene, then xanthophyll, then phycoerythrins, isn't it? This one is the accessory pigment. This one is the accessory pigment. In case of the thallophytes, means to the algae, so the classified based on the pigment. So we would like to make that particular chart and to observe, isn't it? Now first of all, I write here Thallophyta, or we say that algae. Okay, based on pigment. When we make that particular classification of that Thallophyta, then you give or the target over the pigments, isn't it? Suppose in case of the green pigment, or you say that the brown pigment or red pigment, isn't it? Thalophyta, algae, aquatic, aquatic in one. Okay. So all these are algae are found in water. That's why we make the particular classification green, brown or red. If the, or you say that in case of the green pigment algae, it's known as the chlorophyceae. What we call chlorophyceae. The brown pigmented algae known as phaeophyceae. What we call phaeophyceae. And then next to that, in case of the red algae, it is known as the rhodophyceae. What we call rhodophyceae. In green pigment algae are found in fresh water. In case of the fresh water, so few species also see in marine, no doubt is there. Also in marine is sea water, but the fresh water, majority of the algae are in fresh water, green fresh water. For example, Spirogyra, isn't it? Too much examples are there. Spirogyra, or you say that Chlamydomonas, or Chlorella, isn't it? Or Chlorella. These one is the Chlamydomonas. It is a motile one. It is a non-motile one, isn't it? This one is the branched unbranched. It's a unbranched and filamentous. Unbranched and filamentous. Suppose this one, I would like to draw the very simple diagram. This one is the Spirogyra. This Spirogyra. Here are the cell wall, and around the cell wall, the mucilage sheath, its lubricant sheaths are there, and then contain the chloroplast. Like this one is the chloroplast, isn't it? It is a chloroplast. Then no doubt there are the nucleus or pyrenoids, isn't it? Then next one is the cytoplasm are seen. But now in chloroplast, to take example, this one is the Spirogyra, but the chloroplast, green pigment chloroplast is a variable or various shape of chloroplast. This one is the criteria or the characteristics, basic characteristics of the chlorophyceae. Again, one characters are there. In case of the chlorophyceae, cell wall, made up of cell wall, it's a cellulose. Suppose I would like to take a cell and to observe under the microscope. Then because this one is the microscopic, unicellular also microscopic. This algae also found in case of the chlorophyceae unicellular, simple filamentous, microscopic, unbranched in one, and next one is the cell wall is the cellulose, isn't it? So next one, in case of the reserve food material, when we observe the reserve food is starch. Reserve food observe in case of the starch, or one peculiar character or to observe in rich in protein, rich in protein content of that particular algae to used as space traveler, isn't it? Those space travelers, the particulars used the food as a food in case of the chlorophycin. This one is the basic characteristics of the chlorophycin. It's a green in color, isn't it? Means if it is the green in color, then the pigments are there. Chlorophyll A, is it the green pigment, isn't it? So now next one to the pheophycin. Very simple in case of the pheophycin. To take example, actually it is found in marine one, and few species also, the few algae found in fresh water. But marine, it's an important one, isn't it? So too much algae are found in case of the marine in pheophycin, brown in color. And next one, to take example, very simple example, sargassum. It's a very simple example in case of the sargassum. I just draw the diagram sargassum. This one is the sargassum. Here are the this one is the leafy structure. Here are the air sac, and it's a hold fast is there, sargassum floating. You know very well the 60-meter long sargassums are seen in marine. It's very big, isn't it? So this one is the sargassum. It is the branching one. It's a branch and filamentous. Branch and filamentous are there. Now, okay. Now, pay attention. This one is the hold fast, then stiff, then leaf, isn't it? So the number of leaf on that algae, then you call the frond. What we call the frond? It is the differentiate of that particular algae, isn't it? Or aquatic plantations. You say that the plant body is called thalloid, isn't it? Or thallus, isn't it? So these one is the basic character with the help of the example of the sargassum. And now in case the sargassum, it's a color brown in color, means the pigment chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C. It is a basic pigments are there. And again one more very important pigments considerations here. Fucoxanthin. It's again one pigments are seen, isn't it? Fucoxanthin pigment. Or in case of the cell wall. So cell wall is made up of cellulose. Cell wall is made up of cellulose, and again one fucans and algae. Fucans and algae. It is an important in one. It's a cell wall. Now in chlorophycin, cell wall cellulose. No doubt. Here the cell wall also the cellulose, and one more components also seen. It's a fucans and algae. Fucans means to the brown. It's a brown color, and these one is the brown pigmentations are seen in pheophycin. No doubt is there. Reserve food. So the reserve food in one is the starch. Starch is the I see that here food, reserve food, common food, no doubt starch is there. Next to that mannitol, mannitol and laminarian. Laminarian is the again one. It is the food, reserve food, and these reserve foods are seen in the Phaeophyceae, means to the brown algae, isn't it? Now next one characters are there. Here are the in Chlorophyceae, multiflagellates are seen, unicellular. Here are the branched in one, filamentous, multicellulars are there, and again biflagellates. Few of these algal species are seen in the biflagellates are there, isn't it? So now next one or one more example you keep in your mind, the filamentous. For examples our syllabus are given, the ictocarpus. The another example is the ictocarpus is there, isn't it? So next to that the rhodophyceae. We observe the rhodophyceae. Now this one is the rhodophyceae. 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 Rhodophyceae is the red algae. It is the red algae. These red algae are found in marine water, sea water, and also the algal, few of the algae to study of the some algae found in fresh water, but the marine it is the important one. Chlorophyceae, now keep in your mind, chlorophyceae, fresh water. Majority of algae are seen in fresh water, that is the green in color or chlorophyceae. Next one is the Phaeophyceae, brown in color, means pigment, brown pigments are there. And this one is the algal, generally majority found in marine. So same statements are there in case of the Rhodophyceae, marine and then fresh water, but the most of algae are seen in marine. That's why the red pigmented algae is there. Next one is the when we observe the pigment. The pigment is there chlorophyll A and then chlorophyll D. So simultaneously phycoerythrin. This one is the pigments. Phycoerythrin. Erythrin, you know very well, the red blood particles, isn't it? Erythrocytes are disease, isn't it? Means to the red. So that's why phycoerythrin means to the red. So the red algae, it's a red algae or the rhodophyceae. It is a pigment, and these one is the pigments are seen. Then next one, suppose I would like to take the example. So too much examples are there. For example, very simple examples given our syllabus. It's a Giladium or Batrachospermum or Polysyphonia. This one is the examples also the given in Rhodophyceae, isn't it? Rhodophyceae. Now this example, for example, it is a Giladium like this one. It's a branch in one. It is a simple branch and filamentous branch, filamentous are there, isn't it? And this one is the example. Suppose I would like to take a section and to observe under the microscope. Then the cell wall, it's a cell wall. Cell wall. The two types of the cell walls are seen. One is the pectin, so it is a type of the protein, and another It's a cellulose. Cellulose. Now listen. Chlorophycine, cellulose. Pheophycine, cellulose, and then fucoxanthine, isn't it? Fucoxanthines. But now the content cell wall is the cellulose, fucanes, and algine. These types are studied under the pheophycine. It's a cell wall. Then in case of the rhodophycine, the cell wall is the pectin, and next to that it is a pectin and then cellulose. So the food, different types of the foods also seen in case of the rhodophysin. Which one is there? One is the starch is the common food. It's a starch is the common, no doubt is there. And floridon or floridine. It's a next to that floridine. Floridine is the food material and very important of the rhodophysin in Thallophyta group. Rhodophysin. Why? Because the examples, these were the algae, to collect the algae and then use as a commercial. For example, in agar gel, you know very well, agar. This one is the agar prepared to study of tissue culture or the branch of tissue culture. So the production of agar to use the tissue culture, and it is a important factor of the, in case of the, what we say that, of the Thallophyta. So now remembering the each and every point, it is important in one MCQ as well as one line sentence, isn't it? So that's a very simple basic concept is there. 1 to 2 times you read and then you make a chart and the charts to objects, and which one is the point to keep our mind? First of all, the found habit, isn't it? Next one is the cell wall. Next to that, the reserve food. Next one is the example, because example it is the most important. And the last one, the pigment. Pigment is the point of the Thallophyta. The Thallophyta create the classification with the help of the pigmentation, isn't it? So now this one is the point, just sweep out. Okay. So now next one to study in our syllabus, Plantae. Next one is there, the division Bryophyta. It is very interesting part. The division Bryophyta. Division Bryophyta. Okay. This one is the Bryophyta. It's a cryptogamous or cryptogams, isn't it? Next to the seed and then flowering are absent. These one is the product or hidden. Crypto means to be hidden. Gamous means to the reproductive parts are just hidden in there and study, and then the group is the non-vascular plant is there, isn't it? Non-vascular plant. Now, bryo means to the moss, and phyta means to the plant, isn't it? Moss. In case of the bryophytes, the lower member and higher member studied in bryophytes. Lower member in case of the liverwort or hepaticid, isn't it? Then higher member in case of the mosses, or you say that musky, isn't it? This one is the bryophyte, isn't it? Next one, the found in bryophyte generally shady and moist places. The bryophytes are seen. Shady and moist places. Means what? If it is the shady and moist places are seen, the bryophyte, no doubt, it's a character or nothing but called the terrestrial. It's a terrestrial plantation. Terrestrial means to be grow on land. Grow on land, isn't it? Suppose this one is the bryophytes grow shady and moist place, isn't it? Means to be grow on land, but when they come on the stage of the fertilization, then the bryophytes need water. So that is why the bryophytes nothing but called the amphibian, isn't it? Partly on land and also water. That's why bryophyte so called the amphibian, isn't it? To take example, we study with the help of example. Very simple example. Funaria or moss. Higher group of example. Now this one is the here are the capsule. So the capsule produces the spore. So that's why the capsule, it's a sporophytic in nature. The sporophytic diploid in one. It is the diploid condition. It is a 2N number, diploid condition, isn't it? Next to that, in case of, it's a very simple concepts are there, and these one is the concepts are like this one, and here are okay. Pay attention. This one is the rhizoid. We find here like root-like structure. We say that root-like structure. Isn't it? Very thin. Root-like structure. Nothing but called the rhizoid. So this one is the rhizoid. Is the function to absorb water and minerals. Okay. Understand? Very simple thing. Next one, this one is the stick, and this one is the part female gametophyte, and this one is the male gametophyte. So the male and the female both are seen in single in one mosses, isn't it? Branching in one, no doubt. It is the branched and filamentous is there, isn't it? So the sporophytic and male and then female means to be gametophyte or gametophytic nature. So 2N to N in number means to the life cycle is the sporophytic to gametophyte, isn't it? Life cycle is the sporophytic to gametophyte, and it is the best example in case of the bryophytes. So now you should remember, in bryophytes are too much used to, for example, mosses to provide food for herbivorous as well as the birds. Next one is the mosses to provide in case of peat म्हणजे सरपण ज्याला आपण म्हणतो, peat for fuel. Then mosses used for material water holding capacity. And again very important last function is there, lichen and mosses grow on rock and decompose of rock than to form the soil, isn't it? That is why mosses helps the preventations of soil erosion, acts as the soil binder. So now we will stop here in case of the bryophyte. Next remaining part we will afterward we will see. Okay.